Hey all, welcome to the blending mode class at Hummy's World. We have been through the blending modes, one class for each one, and I've given you a texture for each one, and we've had some rules. We've been restricted to just using that blending mode. Now for our first class lesson out of the box, lifting rules. This lesson is going to be just a simple, fun play lesson. Whenever you see those cool images, hopefully this one of mine is cool to you, and you say, wow, how did they do that? I hear people say that all the time. We need a lesson on how they did that. Well, this is your lesson. And it's easier than you think it might be. They have learned how to manipulate multiple textures to get something cool, or even that they arrived on it by accident. And you can do it, because you can just play until you go, aha, that's it. And so that's what this lesson is about. I'm going to, let's deconstruct this a little bit. Here's my original image. It was actually a double rainbow that I was taking pictures from my front yard, but I'm not seeing the double rainbow. I think the other one's up here. It didn't show up well in the photos. This is the texture I am giving you for this class. It's kind of yummy, I think. It has some grunginess, and it's got some circles and some white and some sepia. And so if you're going back through your lessons and you're trying to remember what each of the blending modes did, you can apply these with more purpose, or you can just scroll through them and have fun. But for this one, for me, I'm giving you this one for the lesson, and I want you to use this one in your image, but then you can go back and use any of the other textures from any of the other lessons that I've given you, and you can use as many of them or as few of them as you want. You can use layer masks. Now, I didn't use layer masks with this because I thought it turned out just great, but if you wanted to add layer masks to show parts or not show parts of a texture, certainly do that. But when you're done, give us a screenshot of your layers palette so we can see your recipe. And if you can't, kind of explain why you used each texture and why you used it with each blending mode. But for me, from this one, I loved the grungy white around the edge. And so you will remember in here, if you use these blending modes, the white is not changed. And so I used the screen blending mode, and it allowed me to keep all of these white grungy marks around it. And I thought it was rather pretty. Now I'm already losing my rainbow. So I thought, well, and it's soft and it's pretty, and I could just use this one texture. But, you know, this class is to use multiple textures, so I got to keep going. And so I put on Art Paper 2 and from our second lesson, and it's on the color burn because I wanted to bring back some of that color. The soft was pretty, but I thought I need more color. And you see, that's about all this did. This texture, let's go back to normal, has a vignette kind of around it. And so also in using the color burn, if you watch it happen, it's putting a vignette around it also. I think any of them you know, even the multiply. See, you see the vignette there, but it makes it gray. And the linear burn works. You see the vignette, but it's too dark for me. So any of these, you can see the vignette. You know, you can just scroll through and see what any of them do. I'm just using my arrow key and scrolling through. But if you go back through, the only one that works well is the color burn, because I wanted to bring out the colors, and then I also liked the vignette. So then I thought, well, what could I do next? You know, I have to keep adding. This is now too stark, so I need to bring it a little bit back down, and I want to kind of change the color of it a little bit. So I added this one. I went back and looked for a paper that had a color in it, and this is art paper 13, and it looks like this one that's pretty ugly. You think, what in the world am I going to do with that ugly color? It actually works. So I need to go back to whatever one I had that on. I don't remember what I had it on. You just scroll through them. And there, that's right, I had it on soft light. I did. I remember that's about the only one that works with this paper. So this is the part where you have fun playing. This actually works well. This is the hue. It brings out the hue of it if you want to go down to kind of a monotone. The saturation is pretty cool with it, color. But I had it on soft light. And here's the before and here's the after. And I kind of loved how it put the lines in here and just kind of grunged it up some too. And now I said to myself, well, it's still kind of too dark. I want to kind of go back. I got some more textures in there, but I want to kind of go back to that soft thing. So I knew I was going to have to add one of the Lighten modes. So I have art paper 8, and I added it, and with the screen, and it just turned out to be kind of yummy. And that's when I said, aha, this one's it. So here's what it looks like. It's got a lot of the mesh wire in it, which is showing up. So I started with Lighten, and then I just kind of scrolled through, and I knew it'd be one of these, maybe the overlay or soft light, but I wanted to lighten everything. So the screen worked out beautifully because I had made everything dark. So that's one thing you might want to remember when you're combining these textures. You know, go from making a blending mode to making it light, and then choose one from the darken for the next one, and then one from the lighten, and it kind of really builds them and stacks them and keeps your color pleasing, because you can't keep getting dark because then it'll be too dark. You can't keep getting light because then it'll be too light. So you got to kind of go back and forth. And then I said, well, I've lost my rainbow. So I went back and I extracted it, and there it is. And then I said, well, you know, the color isn't right. I tried blending it with various blending modes, and I ended up just applying a hue and saturation layer to kind of change the color of it. And I thought that worked. And then I added my text. The text is actually on the color burn blending mode. If you take that off, it looks like this, and when you put it on the color burn, it looks wonderful. And then the stroke that I added is actually an overlay that I changed it to. And so that is what I did, and I'm giving you total freedom. Try not to do too many other techniques. One of our future lessons is going to be on using brushes, so don't do brushes or anything like that. Just kind of stick with the textures I've given you and stacking them up and with layer masks, and show us what you can do.